It absolutely baffles me how many people are willing to bet money on the turn of a card, but they can't actually shuffle those cards themselves. In this video, I'm going to show you how. Let's start with an example of cheating. Here we have a shuffled deck of cards, which is given a series of cuts. And then we're going to give it another shuffle and spread the deck just to prove that we're not apparently holding anything. And then another series of cuts. Now the truth here is that what you're watching is an extremely advanced series of false shuffles and controls, which allows me to put the deck back into new deck order. You can see all the suits are separated. Okay, there are many ways of shuffling a deck of cards. You may be familiar with the most common, which is the overhand shuffle. Cards are drawn off like this into the hand. And many people can do that shuffle. But the truth is, it doesn't mix the cards up very well. What you need to learn is a classic table riffle shuffle, where the cards are riffled together, pushed together, then given a slight cut, not of half the deck, but of about a third of the deck, and then the riffle shuffle repeated. I'm going to show you how to do that shuffle, take you through each one of the steps, and make sure that you can practice this on your own and be able to guarantee a fair outcome in your own game. And that's got to be worth a little bit of practice. So let's start with the basics. How to riffle the cards. Cut the cards into two piles, and you're going to learn to do the same thing with both hands. Essentially, you're going to grip at the ends. You want to keep this first finger free like this, okay? So that it remains on top. And you're going to apply slight pressure to the top. Not a great deal of pressure, just very slight pressure. And this will allow you, with your thumbs, to lift up. Now, you're not trying to bend the cards like this or fight the cards. You just want to lift up gently and allow cards to dribble off like so. And you want to do this with both sides. So a little bit of pressure with the second and third fingers. This one's loose, like this. And notice that the thumb is aligned here, like that. It's not kind of sticking down, trying to lift up. You want it to be here so you can really riffle the cards. And if you learn to do it this way, you'll find that it's really simple to riffle with both hands. And that first finger is really the key, because that's just applying just enough pressure to stop the cards from going everywhere, like that. So now that you know how to riffle the cards, that's the basic skill required. Now we're going to move the cards together, interlacing them to create the shuffle. So now let's riffle and move these two corners together. So you start here, you lift in order to do your riffle, but as you lift, you then bring them in and then drop off, and you'll see that they begin to fall together like that. You then push the two ends together, and then you're going to put your fingers here and your thumbs at the back and do a very neat pushing together, telescoping the two packets together. The thumbs help guide and the fingers push, and when you get to this position, you pinch the corners like that. So you're applying pressure which squares everything. So you lift, twist, drop the cards, then you push both corners together like that, put the fingers here, push everything together, and then with your thumb and fingers square like that. So the more you practice this, the finer your shuffle will become. In other words, at the beginning, you'll clump cards. Like, 4 or 5 cards will jump off every time. The more that you learn to riffle, 1 or 2 cards will pop off, and the riffle itself will become more tight and interlaced. And if you learn to do this, like so, with a little cut of about a third of the deck each time. So about a third of the deck from the bottom to the top, a third from the bottom to the top, and then cut halfway and riffle shuffle. If you were to do this 7 times, you'd be guaranteed a completely shuffled deck of cards. If you're traveling, perhaps on a plane or on a train, and you have a little table in front of you, bring a deck of cards. After a couple of hours, I guarantee you'll be able to do this perfectly. If you take the time to learn to shuffle, you should at least shuffle as many times as required to guarantee that fair outcome. Happy practicing.